In this video, I'm going to show you an example of how we compress and process our audio tracks before we use them in our recorded trainings. So, for instance, here we have one of the latest modules that we've shot for our membership site. I'm going to go to SPM modules, and this is going to be module 7. And here in the Wave folder, we have the file that we got from our external Zoom H4n recorder. This is the unprocessed raw file. As you can see, the levels here are not exceeding -9 most of the time, or even -12. So what we need to do at this stage is we are going to convert this file into 2 mono tracks. So I'm going to, oh, by the way, this is Adobe Audition CC 2017. You might use any other audio processing software. There's plenty of options out there. Audition is really good, but it's part of the Creative Cloud suite of products. So you have to obviously pay for that. There's a monthly subscription. Can't remember exactly how much, but it depends on the kind of subscription that you choose. But there's also a free software called Audacity that you can use to do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to extract these channels into mono files so that this left channel that was recorded with our external recorder will be on its own track, in its own file. So we can just work on that. We don't need to worry about the right channel because there's no information there, and we can also close this original file. So now I have the just the mono track from the left channel, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I will go to my effects rack, and we actually have already set up these settings here. So I'm using 3 different effects. The first one is a parametric equalizer. And the settings I'm using here, it's roughly a curve shaped like this. Of course, this is tailored for our needs, the kind of acoustic environment that we have when we shot this video. But the main thing is that there's a little bit of kind of a booming upper bass sound around 100 Hertz. So if I play this track, you will know what I mean.
Who booked an appointment with us watching that same Times Square video.
This is without the parametric equalizer, and when I turn it on,
and then a few days later, I'm on the phone with one of the 4.
Now this is something that I like this sound a little bit better. It's going to cut off a little bit from the upper bass, and then I'm going to I've created this peak here around a little bit less than 2 kilohertz. So it's going to make the sound slightly crisper and clearer. Usually when you emphasize some of the higher frequencies, it means that the sound will become more, you can get some extra clarity for the sound. And that's sometimes good if you have a presentation on camera, or you're mostly speaking. So we're not talking about editing for setting or equalizing music or anything like that. This is just our preferred audio settings that are obviously set up to match with the environment where we recorded. So these are the parametric equalizer settings, and the next plugin that we use is Deverberate. This costs around $100, and I'm mainly using this because the basement where we are doing our recordings is at the moment has not been we don't have enough acoustic padding on the walls, so we get some extra echo, and to get rid of that echo I am using this plugin. So I'll show you how it sounds like without the plugin.
Face of NTD on YouTube. Now they want us to
I don't know if you hear that, but there's a little bit of extra echo there, so we want to get rid of that. I'm going to turn this on.
Me specifically to be the face of their Facebook, explosion.
So the sound is a bit drier, and that's just something, kind of an extra thing that we wanted to do to get a more professional outcome. But this is not part of this is not part of Audition as such. It's just a VST plugin that we got, and we are using it. But you will be able to find it just by googling their name, and the name of the plugin is Deverberate. You might not need it, I don't know, depending on where you're recording, but that's a good option if you're having that problem of too much reverb, too much echo in your recordings. The next one is a multi-band compressor, and we started with broadcast. So this is the setting where we start, and we've just changed some of these settings slightly. We want the margin to be -3, and then we are using a gain.
With the one of the 4 board of directors, and we created a $100,000 to $500,000 US consulting proposal for them.
I want to get the kind of sound and levels where we are seeing this these meters go to roughly around -3. It's going to be limited to that, so it will never exceed -3 now that we have margin -3 here. But
some of you have seen that.
I'm going to increase the gain so that we see more compression here.
We've had, super high-tech entrepreneurs who are creating the Uber of travel, who want to partner with us, have even offered us equity in spin-off companies as well, and we've gotten...
Okay, so this is roughly the result that I'm looking for. It should never exceed 0, and of course that we're taking care of that by setting the margin to -3, but I want to get a fairly maxed out, flat sound wave here, but of course not too much. We don't want to get rid of all the dynamics, not want to crunch it too much, but this will produce a fairly good result. So I'm going to apply these settings to the track, and it's going to take a while. Even though I'm using a fairly powerful laptop here, it's still going to take a while. Might take even longer on your laptop, depending also on the length of your recording. Here we have basically the entire recording that we did this week for our new module. So we have more than 1 hour and 20 minutes of content, and applying all of these effects, the equalizer and the deverberate effect and the compressor, is going to need a little bit of computing power. So in a little bit less than a minute, we are finished all together, a little bit less than a minute, and this is a sound wave that we ended up with. So
persuasion and persuasion and influence in our videos from reciprocity. Like, we were off.
This is the result that we ended up getting, and I'm going to press Ctrl-Z a few times so that you see where we started.
Things in your ad campaign to make it really powerful.
This is the original audio. So compared to this one.
Things in your ad campaign to make it really powerful.
Yeah, so obviously the levels have been limited to -3 decibels, and we've compressed the sound, and we've deverberated it. We've gotten rid of most of the echo, and we've done a little bit of equalization. And this is the sound. This is the kind of sound that we want to have in the final product. So I am going to save this file and just save it into the folder that we're using for this, and that's going to be module 7 and wave. I already have this file here. I've just named it. It means that it's the left channel and it's processed. And the settings I'm using are these are the original settings for this wave file. So these are the settings that we used in our Zoom recorder. It's 48 kilohertz. Now it's a mono file because as you remember, we extracted these channels into the left and right channel, and only the left channel contains actually the audio information. And it's 24-bit. I want to retain this bit depth so that when I render it out, I can always downgrade the quality later. It's going to be 320 kilobits per second, but I want to retain that high quality at this stage, because you can always downscale, you can always downgrade the quality, but you can never get it back. So this is basically the ideal settings that I want to have. The file size is going to be quite big, but it doesn't matter. I have a lot of space on my hard drive. So I'm not going to save this. This is just a very brief introduction to how you can get a lot better sound. Obviously, the equalization settings depend on the recording environment. Like I said, if you record it outside, you might want to emphasize some, add a little bit of gain to some frequencies, and like the higher frequencies, if there's a lot of background noise, you might want to cut a little bit more in the lower frequencies if there's rumble or cars in the background or stuff like that. That's up to you, and that's really up to the professional audio editor or mixer who's taking care of all this. But this is the process that we use, and it's good for the recordings that we do in our studio at the moment. So thanks for watching. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to join our closed Facebook group, The Art of High Impact Videos and High Ticket Sales, or go to starproduceracademy.com, or you can opt into our funnel and book a strategy session with us at starproducermastery.com. Thanks for watching. Bye for